morning guys, welcome to Thursday's daily vlog. Today should be a little bit of a bitty day, as I call it. So lots of bits and pieces to take care of, but also going to be doing quite a little bit of work on the Skywalk, and if I can today, I want to get it built, and in that way we get it into paint. Brilliant, 2 days work and it's done. That's what I like about modelling. But it's a lovely little kit, but I'll show you a little bit more about that in a moment. First of all, thank you for all the feedback. A couple of questions that have come through. Rob's asking about, do I have a list? Because I mentioned about, I know roughly what I'm doing for this year's builds as we make our way through. I say this, time, it's like Groundhog Day. A lot of people say to me about, you know, it's your dream job and, you know, everything else like that, but to me it's almost like Groundhog Day, because every day is pretty much the same and every day feels like a Friday as I make my way through. But here we are, and I'm like, this year's builds are going to be, and we're almost at, you know, coming halfway through March already. It's ridiculous. Anyway, the big ones that I'm going to throw in, because I intend to hopefully have a lot more time to do build work. As you know, obviously we've got Mel and more staff coming in hopefully towards the end of the year, things like that. So it's going to free me up to literally just get on and do what I love doing, and away from the horrible side of it. So from that point of view, I'm really hoping to push through quite happily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have quite big builds. You know, well, I used to do a yearly super build, a bit like the A10. Well, I intend to do about 4 of those a year. And then I'm going to throw in lots of smaller stuff. So don't panic guys, I'm still going to be doing the 1/72 stuff, because I actually really enjoyed that sort of the 1 day build format. I like doing that. We're still going to do some of those like the A4, which will really be like 1 week builds to me, and we can push through it quite heavily like that. But the bigger ones that I've sort of know I'm going to definitely do this year is we're going to be doing the F-16 Tamiya 32nd one. Purely because it's a beautiful aircraft, love doing it, and there's lots of tutorial type things I can put in amongst that video. So it's things like detailing a modern engine, so we can do that one, working with a modern cockpit, working with that type of thing. So like the A10, we did certainly some bits on there, but with that particular kit, it lends itself really well for doing that. Very much like we did with the FW190 of standalone videos that make up an entire series. So doing things like that. Also, to be honest, it is that good a kit, it doesn't take that long to put together. It's actually a very fast build, so from that point of view, it's not like some of the other big super builds we do where we've got to fiddle around and make changes. It goes together like a dream, and I've built a few of them in the past, so looking forward to that one. The other one, big one, is the Mozzie. Now the Mozzie is going to be the big summer project, if you like. It's going to be quite a long build, and I've got a lot of aftermarket for that now that's been coming in over the last few weeks. You know, I had those engines, we had trouble getting the engines a couple of months ago. Obviously we've got those engines, we're going to install those into it. Some other bits and pieces, we've got some brass barrels, things like that, that are going to go down in there, and a few other little changes. Again, it's Tamiya, it's not going to be a problem going together, but I want to show it in a certain way that you guys are easy to follow. But more importantly, over the years to come, you can reference that build and cherry pick the best bits out of it. So if you wanted to know about doing those particular type of engines, it'll be a standalone video. So you could just watch that on its own if you wanted to, and it wouldn't be part of an entire build. But they're all going to be in one big area, so you can go through them all in stage if you want to do. So like cockpit, engines, fuselage construction, and then into painting and weathering and stuff like that. So they are the next 2 big builds that are going to be coming up. Interspersed all amongst this, I am still going to be doing the AMK 148 scale. It's the MiG-31, isn't it? I'm sure it's the 31. Doing that one, it is. So we want to be doing that one. I'm definitely going to be doing their F-14 Tomcat when it comes out, purely because, you know, I really want to do that. And I've still got all these other little builds I'm going to be doing in sort of disperse them all the way through. So things like these types of things where, yeah, let's face it, pretty much shake and bake kits, but you can learn a lot from just doing this type of thing. So with this, it's going to be more about the paintwork and everything else as we make our way through this one. But it's going to be quite a quick build, so it'll be like 2 weeks tops for you guys as you're watching it right the way through. But generally, I'm going to be putting in all these little bits all amongst it. So we've got some armour stuff coming through. Obviously, the next big build straight after this, we'll be working on for the armour for that beautiful King Tiger with a full interior and stuff. So, and again, you know, I know some of you are asking about cars and bikes and airliners and stuff like that. Hopefully, I'll be able to chuck some of those in amongst the years we make our way through. So from that point of view, it's a little bit of something for everyone, and again, I'm hoping that some of the guys, obviously Hans and Steve and that, are going to be helping out with some of their builds, so you're not just sort of focused on me working through a big build like the A10. I know they tend to go on a little bit, it's 2 months worth of work, it's a big project to go through, but hopefully you can pick up little snippets. But having the guys doing other things as well, it's never a dull moment, so to speak. So that's the thing with that one. You're enjoying the vlogs, that's a nice thing as well. That's very good. Decal or decal, It's going to be one of those things, it's never going to end. I always say decal, but then you do that thing, you know what it's like when people say to you in, like, you know, other things, and then all of a sudden you say decal or decal. I think it is, but the way I think of it is that decaling or decaling. Now, decaling just doesn't sound right to me, so I'm sticking with decaling, okay, right the way through. But it's one of those things, it doesn't matter, like I say with this entire hobby, there's no right or wrong or anything else. It's whatever makes you happy, okay? Right, some of the questions that come through, this is going back to when we did the tech setup and all the things. Lovely setup, and Tom's saying it's basically what works for you. Don't let the experts tell you, or the internet experts tell you any different. And that's what I say. Again, it is that thing. The only thing, you know, a couple of people asked me about with cameras and various things, and I say, I will tell everyone, don't worry about it. A modern camera can cope with pretty much everything. Don't be fooled into buying these £2,000 high def cameras. To be honest, this camera that the big one we got here, which is the big Canon there, the only thing it's really worth its salt is, one, it's interchangeable lenses, so I can put different lenses on the front of it. But even that, I don't spend a fortune. I know some guys spend 300-400 quid on a lens, you know, or £1,000 on a lens and all the rest of it. I don't. Mine were like 35 quid. So, and it does the trick, you know. The only thing is like with that one, it's very good at doing big overall shots and things like that, whereas, you know, everything else. But what I'm shooting this on, hopefully we've sort of fixed the sort of the focus, apart from the sound, because it's using onboard sound because it's only a vlog. But the picture quality is absolutely fantastic, and it's the size of a fag packet, so you don't need these big huge cameras and everything else. More importantly, just get yourself nice light. Light is the key to everything. Ray saying, lovely work on the Skywalk, thank you very much. And then Peter saying that he loves the work and the bits and pieces like that. Any chance of doing figure painting? If you know me, you'll know I can't figure paint for squat. I am terrible at it. We had Ben here a couple of years ago, and he did a couple of tutorials for me because I am useless. I mean, absolutely useless at figure painting. Eyes and skin tones and everything else. I can pretty much do a pilot in sort of 1/48th, 1/32nd, but when you're talking this professional stuff of, like, you know, the busts and the big 1/6 scale stuff, and that to me is a completely different art form. That's taking it all up onto another level, and you get guys who, that's what they do. And we've got some great figure painters on the forum, so have a look at their work, and you see the skin tones and the eyes that look right at you. That is very clever. Mine tend to look like something from Trumpton. So I am a great believer, know your limits. I am by no means a figure painter, so I would be the blind leading the blind, so I'll leave that very much to the professionals on that type of thing. Can you tell me the brand of the tape you use on your canopy? I've got it out for you. Actually, it's not going to focus now, is it, because it's set, but this is the stuff. It's AIZU. You can get it pretty much anywhere, but the thing is, it does it down to, I think it's 0.15 mil or something ridiculous. This is the 0.7, which for this stuff's quite wide. I must admit, I bought all the sizes. I think I bought 2 packs of them all many years ago, and they just last forever. Useless for masking because it's far too thin. You just can't do anything with it. But for doing detail work and things like wiring, if you want to make up a loom and just want a thin bit of tape and put it around it and glue it, things like that, or if you want to put, makes it look like metal, and you can then put a little bit of silver onto it, paint them silver, put them on. Again, we showed you yesterday on the actual A10 for gaskets and things like that around glass and stuff and seals. This is brilliant stuff for it, because it is too thin for doing anything else. Even painting, I tried to do it painting once, but because it is so thin, you get a tiny little bit of bleed. That scale, it's right the way through it. It's not like it's a little bit of bleed as it goes through. Another one, Annan says, Phil, did you slip up by saying decal? That's what I was saying yesterday. This is going to go on now. I'm going to be haunted by it. I'm going to get a t-shirt with that on as well. Okay, so Jewel says, love your input, Steve. Would be great to see him more regularly. Great stuff. Well, hopefully, as I said, very soon Steve will be up doing a lot more. That's from the Friday show, I think we were talking about it. And I had a question here about light. Somebody was saying about a bench light, but I've lost it. I wanted to answer that one. Sorry, we're a little bit all over the place down in there. But somebody asked me about they're setting up a new workbench. What would I suggest for a work light? To be honest, as long as you've got a daylight bulb, so you're looking for anything around about sort of 6,500 Is it Kelvin or looms? I can never remember which one it is. But anyway, it's that. That's daylight quality and everything else. Now, from that point of view, you don't need these big, huge, expensive rigs or anything else like that. You can literally buy daylight bulbs and hang them above. What I would suggest is that you have them both sides of you like this. That way you don't get shadowing and it's less eye strain. Because obviously if you've got shadows, you've got the darks and lights, your eyes are trying to sort of focus through and everything else. Forget filming, this is generally for working. Another great one is I used to have over there for years and years and years is a work light. So you can buy them for sewing, for reading things, and literally they come across and you can spend anything from £30 up to £130 on those. And it's just on an arm and you put it over your work and you go for it literally like that. But if you can, have two, because that way you get rid of all shadows, which is a real pain for me when I'm doing reviews, because you try and show your surface detail. So you're getting your part and you're going, and here's the surface detail. You can't see it because there's no shadows yet. If you've got a bit of shadowing, you can see the detail really easy. But that's the trouble I have around here. But again, you know, for me, a lot of this is overkill purely because it's from a filming point of view. If you're not filming, you don't need anything like this. You can just have a work light. And again, we've showed the forum and got me onto those ones that we actually use for the spray booth, where it's just a couple of £5 outside systems, but they're daylight ones, LED lights, and I think they were $5.99 each, or you could pay, I think it was $9.99 for the one had a passive sensor on it. So obviously you don't want that. Straightforward, wire it up, bung it in the mains, and away you go. Very straightforward, simple, and it gives me very nice, clean, crisp light in the actual spray booth. So, and on his, he did a thing, have a look down there in Cheapskate Corner on the forum, and I think he's got 3 of them on a bit of wood just down in his room, and gives beautiful clean light right the way through. Again, cheap as chips, and also being LED, they don't cost anything to run. It's not like you've got the old-fashioned way you'd have like a 250 watt light bulb sitting up there, which is like being next to the sun. I don't know if you remember, we used to call it our sun when we used to have the big light tents, because the heat used to come off them, especially in the summer. I'd be there and I'd film and I'd have a towel on my lap and then mop my brow, do my bit to camera, and then sweat my arse off as going through. And that is purely because of the amount of light. That's why I switched over to LED, really, was to keep the heat down, because the trouble is when you've got so much light there, normal bulbs, that you end up with a thing where your paintwork is drying like that, you know, it's drying too quick and it gives you more problems. You get spitting, especially with acrylics when you're airbrushing and stuff like that. The other one is, Stephen, I would love to see you build a car, perhaps an F1 car. Don't forget, I did do the Red Bull, which is over there, which we did the F1 car. We did that last year. Didn't go according to plan, didn't go anything like I wanted it to, but actually it turned out alright, because we managed to get hold of the Red Bull paint for doing that one. Got a little tiny pot of it, so it's actually got industrial strength car paint on it. But it worked quite well. Again, it's one of those things, percentages and times. I would love to do one, but we'll see how we go through. As I said yesterday's thing, I've got that Ferrari over there that I got for my birthday, so I might want to put that together and everything else. And then generally you're all saying about a great vlogs, everything else literally just like that, so that's all good. One thing I do have to remember, coffee time, all right. You guys send me some absolutely beautiful stuff. Let me just clear some of this out the way. And I'm sorry if I put anyone's addresses in some of this, but I will try and do them. So first up, let me put this over here. Actually, let me shift some space and I'll bring you around. So hopefully this will focus, or is it going to focus? I don't know now, because we're playing with this thing. Hold on, where are we? Oh yeah, auto. There we go. Right, okay. So Mustafa, who's a real star, has sent me some great patches. As you know, I'm a bit of a patch collector, and when I get my new office sorted up upstairs, which hopefully be in the summer, I'm going to have a wall, an entire wall with just nothing but patches, because I think I've got enough to cover it now. But anyway, these are great because these are from the Pakistani Air Force and Navy with some of their ones. So as you can see, really different ones to have there of all these different patches as we work our way through. So thank you very much for these. These will all be taking pride of place in my collection. Okay, so we've got those. The other thing as well, Steve, is it Steve? Chris, sorry, Chris. Chris sent me some nice A10 bits, but also some great ones from the Rotary Wing family. So we got those down there. We got beautiful ones here, some stickers from all the naval squadrons. Now Chris, I do believe you're down in Florida, aren't you? Down in the Keys. Again, absolutely fantastic on these. beautiful ones. So I'll be sticking them up everywhere. Nice one there, smugglers. Black aces. Okay, and also we have, these are great because say Steve sent me these and it's totally unexpected. Kiwi. Okay, and also he was saying that they had the air show down there and they had the F-16s come down from Japan. So obviously it's one of the boomers, one from the 909th Air Refueling Squadron. And he managed to wing a patch out of them, which he sent to me, which is really, really good. I don't think the Kiwi have an actual Air Force anymore, and they don't. You have Hercs now, I think it was. He used to have the Skyhawks, wasn't it? But I think that was the last of them. And now you've moved over, I think, to a more support role. But absolutely fantastic, so that's really good. Over there, as you can see, we have the Skywalk. Really hasn't moved along much since yesterday afternoon when I spoke to you. So we was doing that one, but you say I've got the fuel tanks done down there. So what I'm going to do is get them sorted and everything, and we'll make our way through. So that's about it for now. Join me later and we'll see how we're getting on with Skywalk. Okay, so a good day's work today, to be honest. We are pushing on very nicely with the Skywalk. I must admit, as you can see, we've done the red bits, we've done a little bit of black work on there. So really the black work is just for seam checking and for light fasting the actual canopy. The red work needs masking up and everything else. But as you can see, we are really pushing on. I have it in primer because technically this isn't the coats. These are all the things that need to be masked on this one, and what I'll do is I'll get those done and then we can actually get them sort of, you know, all sorted out, and we can get the primer on this tomorrow so it'll be ready for paint next week. But as you can see, we are really pushing on very, very nicely with this one. It's coming together really, really quickly, so all good with that one. To be honest, I haven't had time to do any editing today, so what I'm going to do is get editing done tomorrow, so you'll get part 15 of the actual A10 build will be up with you tomorrow, as well as the Friday show, as well as a review. So I've got the Airfix B17G. I've reviewed it, I just haven't had time to actually edit it yet, so I'll get that done tomorrow with sort of a catch-up day as we make our way through. And as I said, on Monday then we'll be pushing through with the Skywalk, and actually by the time you come along to it I'll be almost finishing it, and then we can get started actually on that gorgeous King Tiger with a full interior. So I need to do a little bit of homework on that one, get some of the colours in, because I've got no colours for armour whatsoever, especially German armour. So I'm going to get some of those sorted out for that particular build, and we can start making our way with that one. So there we go, that's about it for today. Thank you for joining me. Happy modelling, take care, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.